which is your best move that he's made, and then his one that you question the most? I'll go best. We'll answer it one and one. So which is your favorite one that he's made, the best one thus far?
So
I'm curious if we have the same one.
I'll combine. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting somebody, but I'll combine two into one, and that's when he got Harrison Phillips and Jawan Briggs right before the season, because he gave up late day 3 picks for guys that wound up being key pieces of their group. He saw in training camp, okay, our defensive tackle group is not very good. Let me go get Harrison Phillips. Let me get who's a proven veteran leader type of guy, and let me go and get Jawan Briggs, a young guy to take a flyer on and hope you get something. And he got something out of both of them. So I thought both of those were really adept, smart trades.
Mine is the one that, it's funny because we have the clip here on Final Drive of our immediate reaction to it, was when they traded. I've dropped my brand new phone 3 times on this show. We're really firing on all cylinders. I talked about CrossFit. Now my body's falling apart, my mind's falling apart, my computer's falling apart, and now my phone is falling apart. This is great. Got the new iPhone though, the orange one. Orange is my favorite color, so I'm very happy with it. Shout out iPhones. My favorite one is the Quinnen one, dude. Not that they traded Quinnen, because this was a guy who asked for a trade 3+ times. Yeah. Like, he wanted out. He was disgruntled. Still a really good football player. But when I talked to so many people about Quinnen and talked to so many people about what his value was, I heard over and over and over again a 2 at best, because he was somebody that you were going to have to pay. He was somebody that very clearly wanted out. And he's a very good interior defensive lineman, but an interior defensive lineman. For them to get a 2nd-round pick this year, and then to have the foresight to get the Cowboys' 1st-round pick in 2027 is, again, just that next-level thinking that we keep harping on here with Darren. It could have easily been a 1 and a 2, but you know the Cowboys. Like, the Cowboys aren't sitting there thinking about how talent-rich 2027 is. They're like, oh, who cares? Let's just get Quinn at a 2 and then a 1's down the road. When Darren's like, yeah, we'll take the 2 this year, and what about the 1 next year, where things could bottom out for the Cowboys? They tend to do that sometimes with that team. And we might be looking at that pick like we did the Seahawks pick that they got for Jamal Adams, where it's like, oh, their team's always kind of pretty good. Something random happens. That year, Russell Wilson got hurt, and now suddenly you got another top 15 pick from them. You know what I mean? So, like, I loved the trade for Quinnen Williams, and that they got a 2 and a 1. Like, just that capital, and then having the 1 be in 2027 is the cherry on top. All right, what about the one that you didn't? I wouldn't say a bad trade, because he hasn't done anything yet that it's like, oh my God, what the heck? Yeah. But what is the trade that you didn't love the most / question the most? Or if you want to take it this direction, the one that you think he should have done that he didn't? Because there were, like the Breece Hall trade last year with the Chiefs, Jermaine Johnson, where teams wanted him with San Francisco last year. Like, was there one that stood out to you in that regard?
Yeah, I was having a hard time coming up with one, honestly, because they've been pretty low stakes for the most part, the trades that he's made. But I would say the Jermaine one, because that's something I even called out in the moment. I'm like, this could be something you come back to regret. In the moment, I thought it made sense to keep Jermaine, because I thought he was like an emotional type leader. And when he's fully healthy, he's a pretty good player. He did not have a good second half of the season. He was really bad, in fact. And, so you have to decide, okay, is a 3rd-round pick better, or is T'Vondre Sweat better? And it might be a wash. It probably is a wash, because Sweat might be a pretty good player. But like in the moment, it felt like, okay, will they regret not taking a 3rd-round pick back for Jermaine, because his stock could go down quite a bit over the second half of the season. And then I think that wound up playing its way out. And the Titans, could they have gotten a 3rd-round pick for T'Vondre Sweat, for example? Like, I don't even know, because they very clearly were trying to get rid of him because he didn't fit their new defense. So that's kind of where my head went as you were asking that question.
That's not bad. Mine, Jet fans are I don't think they're going to agree with me on this one. But the one that I just don't love is Sauce. I don't love the Sauce trade. And the reason for it is that I know they got a haul. I know they got 2 first-round picks. I know they got A.D. Mitchell. Like, I get it. I understand that part of it. But my issue with them trading Sauce is that, unlike Quinnen, who was an interior defensive lineman, or when they did move on from Jermaine, which was a player that didn't fit their defense anymore, any of these other guys, like the Justin Fields, the low-risk one, Sauce is we can bicker and argue about where he falls within the cornerbacking hierarchy. The guy is undeniably a top 10 corner in the NFL. And in all likelihood, probably a top 5 corner in the NFL on his bad years. Like, he's still a top 5 player at a premium position. Somebody that you paid on a contract that, when you really get into the nuts and bolts of it, is pretty damn team friendly. And with Sauce, I understand the compensation you got back. But now you need to use a chunk of that compensation to go find a player that you hope is going to be Sauce Gardner. You know, like that. That's what I keep going back to with Sauce is like, well, the Jets right now we're going into this draft and they need a number one corner. And when you take a shot on a corner in this year's draft, like, yeah, you get him on a rookie contract, which if that's something the Jets are worrying about, they probably shouldn't with $160 million in salary cap space next year. But this is something where it was a player that you know plays a premium position at a top 5 level, loves the team, loves his teammates, is beloved by the fan base, and I get you got the ridiculous haul. He just would have been a guy like a Garrett Wilson to me where I'm just not trading him. Like I'm just not doing it. And I might eat my words if they turn around and they get like a top 5 pick here at wide receiver with the first Colts pick, say they get Mekhi Lemon and he turns out to be a stud, and then next year with the first round pick they end up drafting, God, who knows? They use it and go get a franchise quarterback, and I'm sitting here with my foot in my mouth. But I don't know, man. Like the Sauce one is the one where I'm like, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have pulled the trigger.
So I disagree with that.
That's fair. A lot of people are. I 100% agree. Like I don't think this is a hot take, but like
you're saying your foot might be in your mouth, but what you're doing by doing that trade is you're putting yourself in position to potentially make it a lot easier to get that quarterback. And whether that plays itself out, that doesn't mean it was the wrong process in the moment when they traded him away. And so in the moment, I was shocked that they traded him away. And I hear what you're saying, but 2 firsts for a corner who doesn't get interceptions. And I think he's a top 10 corner, don't get me wrong. But the Colts look like they're about to be an absolute mess, and they did not really do much this offseason other than bring back a quarterback on an Achilles and a receiver who's probably going to be overpaid.
Like $44 million a year.
Like so there's a real chance the Jets, even if the Jets themselves don't fall in the top 5, there's like if I'm predicting right now, I think the Colts wind up in the top 10 of that draft. And so if the Jets have 2 top 10 picks, odds are you're going to have a shot at a good franchise quarterback and a top receiver or whatever position. And so I don't know. We'll see how these corners the Jets have do. None of them will be as good as Sauce, but if you have a bunch of good corners, you can survive with that. And so that's why I just disagree with the idea that was the wrong move. But
we'll see,
I think because like getting 2 firsts for a non-quarterback in the modern NFL, it almost never works for the team acquiring him. And if the Jets obviously have to hit on those picks, like there's pressure to do that, but there would be anyway. So I think that was a really good pick. I actually think it's aged even better in retrospect, personally.
Well, you're not going to know until the picks come in because who's the wideout? Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, but
say Jordan Tyson.
Even if the picks aren't good though, that's just on them not evaluating correctly. Like that doesn't make the move.
Well, that's my thing, dude. Is that that's my thing? Is that you're trading a known commodity who is a top 5 player at his position for an unknown, while also now having to find a known commodity at that position. So, yeah, I get it. You got a ridiculous haul. I'm not saying it was a crappy haul. It was insane that the Colts traded that much for Sauce Gardner. Ridiculous. I just still wouldn't have done it because of the position that Sauce plays and how good of a player that Sauce is. Because, I'm sorry, but if they take Jordan Tyson at 16 and he turns out to be Laquan Treadwell, and then they turn out next year and they use the 2 picks to go up there and trade for a quarterback, and that quarterback turns out to be Josh Rosen, guess what? The draft pick was a fail. Like, it was failed. Yeah, your evaluation of the players failed, and guess what? That in turn is the same people are doing it. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's all 6 and 1, half a dozen the other. Like it's the same exact thing to me, and it's just because, and maybe this is a me thing, like a Connor thing, where I'm not a draft guy. And I know Connor Rogers is going to want to slap me the next time I see him. I'm saying this, but like I don't believe in the draft. Like Todd Bowles called it an educated crapshoot once, and there is no better terminology for that thing. Nobody actually knows who's going to turn out in the draft. Nobody actually knows who's going to be good. Like you occasionally have your quote-unquote can't-miss prospects, but guess what? Even those guys flame out 30% of the time, the can't-miss guys. Like very rarely do people truly know. It's a guessing game. You can't. If people knew and there was some actual draft guru, that guy would be making $50 million a year from whatever team gets him knowing, oh, that guy doesn't miss, put him in there. The best teams hit it 30%, 40%. Like that's the best teams in the league. So for me, when you get a guy that you know can play, and he doesn't play guard, or he doesn't play running back, or he doesn't play tight end, or he doesn't play interior defensive line, these non-premium positions, but a true premium spot, you don't let those players go. And again, I could prove him to be totally wrong, because if Tyson's a stud or Lamon's a stud or they get the quarterback, then I'll look like a total idiot. Won't be the first time. Certainly won't be the last time. But to me, like that it's just a me thing.
That's everything you're saying. Again, it just falls back on You say it's a crapshoot, and that's absolutely true. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you are not going anywhere, and they are giving themselves a better shot at getting a franchise quarterback. So therefore, I think it is the right move. They were not a team that was going anywhere with Sauce Gardner. They are now more likely to go somewhere without him by getting a quarterback potentially. So that's why I don't even think it's. I hear what you're saying. I think you're even making that point within your point. So we can move on, but that's where I'm at.
We're just never going to agree on this. That's fine. Which again, I admit, I'm admitting right now that my thought process is predicated on these picks not being good players. Like if I don't even think they have to be studs. Like say they find a Golden Tate at 16 at wide receiver, and he's a really good complement to Garrett, and then they use that pick to go get a quarterback who turns out to be a pretty good player. Then yeah, the trade was worth it. But I don't know. I think you're playing odds that are against you, and I don't like that. Probably why I'm bad at table games when it comes to betting.